Today on Unrefined Ideas.
We're going to talk about Jeff Bezos' reusable Blue Origin dildo rocket.
And Batman vs. Superman. God, it's not good.
Let's just do it.
We're gonna have to do it.
What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of Unrefined Ideas. My name is Nick Hine.
I'm Wade Britt.
And today we really don't have that much to talk about, but we've got two things. So we're just going to go ahead and just get started on it. So the first thing is the
Blue Origin dildo rocket from our friend Jeff Bezos.
Dildo rocket.
It looks like something that would pleasure somebody. I really think it looks like a dildo rocket. I mean, and it's really funny because Elon Musk is kind of, being smug with him because he's like, you didn't get all the way into outer space like I want to with my SpaceX project. And, Bezos is just like, whatever, my rocket came down, it landed on its own. Ridiculous. And it's a reusable rocket. They're getting into the reusable technology. But, I mean, you can't get away from the fact that this thing is so phallic. It's ridiculous.
It does look like, it looks like something out of Austin Powers, man. Like the scene where it's like, Captain, up in space, I see something. It looks like a giant Johnson. Where it like switches real fast.
Yeah, no, and
that's what I imagine
there's
happens.
no denying it, and it's on the launch pad, and you're just like, Jesus, they're gonna, I mean, if they're watching us right now, they're like, they really just sent a dildo into space.
And like you pointed out, the Jeff's shirt.
Oh, wow.
Blue Origin
had
with like a dick, just like...
The the dick was busting out of the Blue Origin.
Dick just like coming out of
it just looked like a complete dick busting out of the Blue Origin. And, and if you're gonna watch it, just go ahead and watch it. CNN has the best coverage for you to see both the penis rocket and also in size to Elon Musk's phallic rocket, which is bigger.
Much bigger.
Bigger.
We kind of have like a little bit of a presentation here for you guys.
Okay.
We want to kind of explain the rocket. So how about you take the Blue Origin, scale it.
Here we go, Blue Origin. He's short and stubby. Short and fat, fills the gap, does a job. Okay? But this would be Bezos. Now you come along with
Wait, hold on. Let's start keep the trajectory of this Blue Origin going.
Okay.
So what is the process for the Blue Origin? It starts off as a tiny little shaft with a mushroom head.
Yes, with a mushroom head. And the mushroom head, when it goes up into the orbit, it jettisons its tip. So it literally busts its load into space.
Yes.
And then that comes falling down to Earth, and then the shaft returns. And but literally when I saw it, I was like, this is some Star Wars shit. This is some next level. It balanced itself really well, and it landed on its all 4 feet. And for something so oddly shaped, you really wouldn't think it would land on all 4.
No,
I thought it was going to topple over, blow up. You got to give it to him.
You kind of watch it there for a second when it's landing. It
was like...
it like weeble wobbles a little bit.
It got sketchy for a minute, man.
Catch its gyro or whatever.
Yeah, but it got right back on it. And, but yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. So you have the Blue Origin here, tiny little one.
Yep,
and then here next to it, you've got the SpaceX rocket. Which is like...
Yeah,
5-6 times its size.
Blue Origin,
it's a little skinnier,
SpaceX, it's skinnier, long and skinny.
Long and skinny. But it's essentially the same thing. But the difference between the two, is the Blue Origin is a suborbital launch platform.
It doesn't go as deep.
Exactly, it doesn't penetrate as far in. That's what she said.
Yeah.
But SpaceX's launch platform apparently shoots all the way up into orbit, so they are actually launching satellites
like up into orbit. They're not just like the shaft and then and then you come down to Earth gently. They don't do that. They thrust into space, and this is just like
the same thing. Yeah. SpaceX still it comes down and it lands. It's got a much wider stance, obviously. The girth is much bigger at the bottom. It's a lot bigger at the bottom than it is at the top. I'll
At the
say
base.
that. Well, no, the top's a little.
Yeah,
we'll
hey,
figure it out.
well, we're gonna you'll see it.
You can see.
You
it.
can see it. So
So yeah, that's pretty much it. The
Blue Orgasm brought to you by Bezos.
the giant space dick.
It's hilarious. You'll see it. I mean, I'm sure people have made fun of it. And his bald head right next to it on the platform made it even funnier. And then the cock coming out of it looked like a cock, and it really, his jacket looks just like cock. It's CNN. I know it's bought news, but they got the 5 minutes, 18 seconds on it. Nice and long. You get to see everything, and you get to see the Elon comparison of size differential.
Oh yeah, and they are definitely two extremes. One's very small and one is very large.
Very large.
But it's awesome, man, because we're talking about a non-government
it worked
space program,
and it worked, and I understand where they're coming from, and I don't know. All right, I didn't do my research. I don't know if it's solid state fuel. I don't know what they were using and because I know they're working with so much in rocketry now. And if you look at the size of the low Earth orbit that you were talking about, which is the Bezos project, which is the Blue Orgasm project, I think that was a solid state thruster because it only had one cone, and I think it was pure solid material to get it up, and then it had a reverse. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, and I'm not going to ramble because I don't know the science.
I'm not a brain rocket surgeon.
Neither am I. I can't do that.
Brain rocket surgeon.
I feel like I got a toothpick in my brain just talking about it.
It is really cool, though. I mean, you got to think of the other applications for a rocket like this. You're talking even down to just hovercraft. Essentially flying cars. That technology could be utilized in so many different ways because you're talking about a chamber that provides combustion, which in the past hasn't been reusable, is now reusable. You're talking something that could last for, I don't know, years, months. They've reused these rockets multiple times, so it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to say, hey, we could use this in cars, or we could use this in transportation just in general.
I just still think it's crazy, though, that they're like, I promise we're going to put rich people into space. Because, I mean, you know what? They're probably going to do a sweepstakes for the first couple runs and make poor people die a couple times before they perfect the process. That's what's going to happen. No. It's going to be like, come to Disney and take off in the Rick Bezos dick ship.
Dick ship.
And because I'm not going to lie, when the pod hit the ground, well, it made a big old sand plume. That was not the smoothest landing I've ever seen by a spacecraft. The lander... The base, the shaft, shall I say, landed much smoother.
Very gently.
Very gently.
I guess
the pod was like, oh,
well, gone. You gotta kind of factor in the fact that it's like
in free fall and it has no rockets.
It's in free fall, and it doesn't have the same sort of propulsion that bottom half has. That's why it's such a giant cylinder,
Yeah.
But like I said, man, still really, really cool for the future just of travel, transportation in general, and also exploration, because you're talking about millions of dollars cut off budgets for just parts alone. You can reuse the same cells over and over again, and that's really promising.
Think if they can make them, and I mean, think about it, and that's where the size matter chart to me gets into it, though, because what Bezos is showing me is that these fuel cells can be smaller. So rocketry can, in effect, be smaller. So I mean, maybe eventually we could have a rocket tube the size of this table. Right. That would jettison with the proper fuel. I don't know.
You know what it needs, and this is just me being too much of a space engineers nerd. Which,
no, but I like it.
By the way, if you guys haven't played that game,
play the motherfucking game. He's into it.
Guys, I'm going to take a quick little sidetrack here into this, but on the page, I've got some Let's Play videos coming out for the Forest and for Ark Survival Evolved, but also we're going to be diving into some space engineers, which is really awesome. You can construct spaceships, from little blocks. It's basically Minecraft in space, but it's incredible. It really is. But why not take, you have your shaft, you have your main tube.
Yes, you do.
That's your propulsion to get you up into orbit.
Yeah.
So imagine if you design your craft to basically have a ring of the same type of propulsion, maybe just a little less, that is another portion of the detachment. So you have your
it's a multi-stage system.
Right, you have your suborbital launch platform, which goes up, comes back down, lands, can be reused. and then you have your the next phase of orbit. So it takes you out of the next rockets, takes you out of orbit, and provides you the ability to come back down into orbit. You know,
Yeah.
and cushion that fall, make it a little safer. And you could design that the same way that you design the main launch platform. You know, you could have the same sort of landing design to it. It would just have to be spread out to kind of accommodate that main capsule you're having people. So you have, 3-stage rockets. Bottom shaft goes up, center shaft takes the capsule all the way up, and then the center orbital rockets, I don't know what you call that, basically
rockets.
Drops right there at orbit, so it stays in that one spot, and then your capsule goes up, and then you're fucking in space. And if you have thrusters enough on your capsule, you can bring your capsule back down, dock with that orbital platform, and it bring you back down.
Yeah, I love the idea of it, and you know what? I put me on maybe the 100th run with no fatalities, and that'd probably be the one to go, because it just got worn out enough coming back into the atmosphere, because it's reusable.
That is true. You do kind of got to factor in the how much is it actually reusable?
And that was my first question. You've got to understand what type of pressure these materials are under. I mean, if I can understand if you changed all the outer panels every single time, you know what I mean? But you're talking about forces that so many G's, it just tears things apart. So, I mean, I guess that's where I get a little concerned. I'm like, well, is it going to do, how reusable is it? And that's a great question.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of the big question, is how reusable is the rocket?
Right.
But otherwise, man, you're talking about two really great feats of science, period, just in general. It's a big step forward for us as humans. Yeah, two giant dicks. Who would have thought it? But there's this thing that, as a space engineer in the game, there's this thing where it's you get in the psyche of just being a creative type person.
Yeah.
And at the end of creating a ship, you always look at it and you're like, it's magnificent, it's beautiful. It looks like a dick.
You get blown out of the sky.
No, it looks like a dick. It looks like a dick.
You always got two balls as the rocket thrusters, and then the main shaft, and then the control center.
Man, it never really goes anywhere else. You build it, it looks like a dick.
Yeah.
You can't go back from that. It's just
no going back from it looking like a dick with two large testes.
And it always gets to a point though where you're like, yeah, I've made a dick. I can't do
Damn,
I mean,
that's a video game, and space is all about dicks. Dicks.
Creative.
Dicks into the sky.
Being creative is all about drawing
and letting them fly.
And if you're female vaginas.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Most definitely. It looked like a pleasure wand going up into the air. Not even gonna lie. So, but all right, moving in. This little guy right here.
Yeah, let's jump to this next topic, which is just going to consume the rest of this episode.
The rest of it. Two things.
Batman
versus Superman.
Yes.
Oh,
we watched it together.
I'm uneasy, okay? I'm just going to say it up front. I'm uneasy. It's hard to talk about. Sad Fleck, Bat Fleck doesn't have to be Sad Fleck because he's raking in the dollars. And you know what? I got to give him props for that, Nick. But I'll tell you, he did a good job. All right. And that's what I'm going to say about it. But
yeah,
address the elephant in the room. Just say it. Just go ahead and mention the name. And we may never speak of it again, maybe, because it really kind of ruined it for me. And I'm not trying to bash a person. I'm just trying to. It wasn't a good casting. And I need you to say the name. I can't say the name aloud. I feel bad. I feel like I'm trashing him personally, but I kind of, not really, in a way. No, it was just bad casting.
Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg. For the love of God.
And when Bryan Cranston was supposed to,
Bryan Cranston would have just destroyed that role, man. He would have destroyed it. So, guys, I just got to say before we go any further into this conversation.
Yeah, because this is a fucking conversation.
There will be spoilers. There will be spoilers from this point on, because we can't talk about the asinine activities that happen in this movie without spoiling it.
Oh.
Which, by the way, if you haven't seen it or aren't going to see it,
or aren't going to see it,
whatever. I mean, I don't know.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. Whatever you did, If you put money into it, it's great. Support Ben Affleck. He did an amazing job. But Zack Snyder, there's a petition going around the internet right now.
Really?
To actually boot Zack Snyder from directing any more of the Justice League franchise.
Okay,
they don't want him to touch it at all. They want him to just
I can completely understand, because part of the movie kind of was like an acid trip for me. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And it was so, all right, disjointed is more the word for it. You know, not acid trip, just sort of, and how much they crammed into this movie in plot without really, to the layman that knows nothing about comics and doesn't read comics, he'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
I'll tell you what, man, like, I just completely fucking forgot my thought.
It's okay, because you know what? That's what happens when you watch the movie. And
I'll tell you what, man. This movie destroyed my faith in the DC cinematic universe completely. Like, spoilers again, there's the moment when you meet Barry Allen in this universe for the first time, and man, what is he wearing? Like, what the fuck? I've never seen a Flash that looks like Iron Man.
I'm not gonna lie, it was like a mix between Iron Man and Captain America, because he had like a hockey helmet on his head almost.
I don't know, man. I mean, that is the Flash, you know. The Flash, the Captain America head mask is essentially the same as the Flash mask.
Yes.
Just without the A.
But you had like the bulk, and it looked steel. It just looked metallic, but maybe that was just... Anyway.
I really hope that it's their version of the cosmic treadmill, which basically like gives Barry Allen the ability to run through time and break barriers like that. I really hope that is a more gadget-oriented version of this. Which because of what it was, if in the movie, Bruce Wayne is sitting at his computer console and he's basically like getting information on kryptonite to destroy Superman, and
I love that it's diabolical. I gotta admit, it's diabolical, and don't get me wrong, like it has a grit to it, but it doesn't rub me the right way. I guess that's where I'm going with it, and just.
Like you said, man, the movie is like a giant acid trip, and Man of Steel was the same way, you know, it was very disjointed, and honestly, so was Watchmen, and so was 300, and no one remembers that those were that way. The reason being,
but I love Watchmen, though.
The reason the Watchmen works is because that is the Watchmen. It is a dark...
You know what? And you hit the nail on the head with that. It is that dark, dreary...
You can get away with having that no sunlight thing, which if you didn't notice, man, there was like 20 minutes of sunlight in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, but back to the Barry Allen thing. Yeah. In the movie, Bruce Wayne is sitting at a computer, and he kind of has this vision of the future of what it's like when Superman is basically like the Injustice Superman, the Berserker Superman.
Yep.
And then immediately you see parademons in it. It's amazing. And seriously, it's like an orgasm.
It was so Nazi-esque too. And
it was exactly.
It was the helmets. I mean, the helmets gave it away. So it was a dark regime.
It was a
dark regime. Yeah.
But so immediately following, Bruce Wayne is sitting in his seat, and all of a sudden, like, sparks and lightning come out of nowhere, and you see this figure come out of the lightning, and he's like, Bruce, you have to save her. You were right about him. You were right about him. And then he starts saying, "Am I too late? Oh my God, I'm too late." Like, he tells him to basically assemble the Justice League in that one second.
Yeah.
Which was probably my absolute favorite moment of the entire movie, was the parademon moment when he sees the future. Like, that was just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But
or was he saying it was too early, or it was too late?
No, I think he was saying he's too late.
Okay.
Like, yeah. He may have said he was too early. There was... we watched this movie.
Some of it was hard to watch.
An hour and a half of talking, probably, before there was any serious action. It was just... It wasn't what it should have been.
No.
It was not what it should have been.
They made money.
They made money. For the first week, at least. Yeah. In the box office, it's dropped to, what, 50 million? from
yeah.
over $1 billion to 50 million.
Yeah.
Which,
Hello,
whatever, they made
darkness,
they made their money. They've reaped all their rewards from that.
which is good. I mean, because it was a high budget film. There's no denying that. But where the budget could have been bent, and acting and directing and understanding and certain things could have been.
You got to think that a majority of that budget was spent on CG.
Yeah.
Green screen work.
Not gonna lie,
that shit, dude.
a lot. Like it was like watching Beowulf.
It was kind of like Beowulf. Even Beowulf was in the movie. Doomsday.
Hey, you heard it here.
But yeah, I did not like the movie.
It was a poor representation of what. I mean, and when I saw the suit that Batfleck was wearing, but like I said, he has no reason to be sad. Fleck. He actually did a decent job.
He did an amazing job.
He was a good dark Bruce Wayne. He was a good Batman. But everybody else let him down, man.
Yeah, my only problems with the Batman are the fact that he used a gun, he killed people.
He used a lot of guns.
But one could make the argument, like I was saying when we were watching the movie, that all being in the future, he could take that as being like, oh, I don't want to go down that dark road. I don't want to be that Batman. I want to be the Batman that stands for good
and we're
justice.
Spoiling the shit out of this for everybody. So spoiler
totally
alert, we're going to have to
spoiled.
put this before our unrefined little thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Total
spoilers. But
it was just, there was no real plot. The plot was very, very thin. They threw too much at us. They put the origin story of Batman, which we can do without. They put the whole Dark Knight Frank Miller stuff in there.
They still opened with the pearls hitting the... We've seen Bruce Wayne's parents die enough in the Batman movies. Didn't kind of need it, did we?
No.
You mentioned it first, but I had to bring it up because it was it's like an archaic message for me. We know what happens.
Yeah.
We didn't even need that.
We didn't at all.
It was just...
It wasn't important.
Adding more mud to the stream of mud of everything getting mixed together. Like I said, people that wouldn't read comic books wouldn't be able to see these characters. They wouldn't be able to understand the Omega. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't.
Batman is Batman. Everyone knows Batman. The problem, like you were saying earlier, is that you can't jump into one of these movies and pick up like you can a Marvel movie.
No.
Marvel is just they've got their formula so down pat that they don't have to give you a bunch of exposition. They can just throw you right into the action.
Yeah.
And not even worry about it. Whereas with DC universes, the cinematic universe, there's like, you got to worry about, is this the reality where Barry Allen from the CW network is the Flash, or is this, where do those happen? Like, where do those all fit into the grand scheme of things?
Yeah. Oh, and well, another memorable thing was who got capped early on in the movie.
Yeah, big fucking deal.
Big deal. Ended the life of our poor little
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen
is gone.
He's no longer with us.
Yeah, he's no longer with us in the Superman cinematic universe.
No, he got wrote off pretty quick.
Yeah, he did. And that was kind of like their thing of DC wanting to take out all lightheartedness from
make it dark. But it made it dark, but it was like Spawn was a great movie when I first saw it. But this didn't have that. I don't know. It wasn't as clean. Like I'm saying, it was like wrapped together. Like I'm trying to think of any other movie where I'm like the digital effects kind of clouded, but it didn't happen with Spawn. So I mean, that's not even a comparison. That's a faux pas. My fault.
I mean, it's a pretty good comparison because they're somewhat in the same universe, and Spawn was also one of the beginning films of the comic book trend. I mean, not just that, but also the Bat movie played a big role in the use of CG. It was one of the first movies to have mass amounts of CG in it. And they did it really well too, man. Like that was one of the few films that in early CG that you were like, okay, I can believe that. Like that sells me, that sells me the whole thing.
I think, you know what though, and honestly, this is like one of those movies that it's like red box it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Catch it later. Sit down with your girl. Whatever. Open a bottle of Merlot. Because it's going to take a minute to get to the action.
Yeah.
So you might be getting action on the couch before anything happens on that screen, and that's a promise. Yeah. Major spoiler alert. But yeah, and then when the action happens, you can't keep up.
No, you really can't.
That's what happened to me. I was like, you lost me a little bit.
There's so much going on that, like I said, they threw too much at us, man. Like, it was just too much for one movie. They could have perfectly just ended it when...
There were a lot of exit points, and there were a lot of times you didn't need to bring these other characters into the realm.
Doomsday was not important.
Thank you.
Like, we did not need the death of Superman. No. We didn't need the origin story of Batman, and we didn't need the death of Superman. Those are two completely different movies that could be done.
And that's what I was saying. Dude? I was like, they literally made a movie where they threw 3 movies, maybe 4, into, I mean, a blender, and that's what they came out with. And that's why it's so bullshit to me, because I was like, there was so much behind that.
Maybe they wanted to get all the kind of lightheartedness out of the way of the Superman story and bring him into the more modern times where they can do something like Injustice, Gods Among Us, because in that story, which would kind of fit into what Barry Allen was saying, in that story, Lois Lane dies.
Yep.
Which sets Superman off in this like berserker rage.
Yeah.
And he becomes like a seriously dangerous threat.
That's right.
So, I mean, it is possible that they could be going that route, which I guess would be interesting. It's all too dark for me, man. Like there's a limit, and as far as the DC Cinematic Universe goes, they had now Suicide Squad has gone back to do remake or rewrites and reshoots and stuff and re-edits.
I hope we hit a chord with all our viewers.
To basically make it more lighthearted. They put more jokes in it because people have been bitching about it. Like, that's the one thing that everybody bitches about in the DC Cinematic Universe is that it's too lighthearted or too dark. They want more comedy. They want more.
Fuck that. Keep it dark, please. No more comedy.
I mean, I'm down for both. I
think all right, a good mixture makes a great movie. But
I think Batman's character demands more than what it was given in the Man of Steel, and a little bit less of what it was given in Man of Steel or in Batman vs. Superman.
Batman vs. Superman, and I agree with you. And on that note, I mean, shit, I really, I think it's a curtain call, and I can't. I feel like I'm out of wake. I don't, I don't think I can talk about this much longer, and that's just me being honest. So I think we got to come to a close.
Yeah, guys. I guess that's gonna be it for this episode. I want to say thank you guys to all you guys that viewed the last couple episodes and liked it, shared it, and commented on it. Please do not forget to do that this time. Hit the subscribe button up here. Like, share, comment, and support. My name is Nick Hine.
I'm Wade Britt.
And this has been another episode of
Unrefined Ideas.